No, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. Okay, I love it. Hello, hi, good morning. It's Mother's Day, and it turns out that I have one of the best kids in the whole world because they brought breakfast in bed for me, and I remember that my daughter, who's sitting right out here, had been saying it since last year that we could do like this on Mother's Day, and then she did it on her own, and then it was so, oh my God, it was so overwhelming, and then she came with this plate, and then initially I thought the father must have helped her around, but the father didn't know. Her father was saying, no, I didn't help her, and she did on her own, and it made my day, baby doll.
Yeah, we got it.
What is disgusting? Hope he said disgusting. I don't know what disgusting. You found her. Come here. Ah, I love my children.
Savage love. Do, break your heart. Do.
Hi. This video is specially dedicated to our young men and women who are in relationships or who are thinking to get into relationships. I do not know a lot of things for sure, but I will tell you what I'm sure of in a while. So I'll throw some questions at you. Probably you should have an answer to that. So the questions are: does your significant other understand you? Does your significant other is like really patient with you all the time, gives unconditional love to you, is gracious towards you, or even the highest form of love, that is to sacrifice your own life? Does the other significant do that for you, or are you ready to do the same for the significant other? So I bet you have the answer by now to those questions that I just asked. So I'm going to tell you the love of God, which is the highest form of love and also a true definition of love for people. All right. So God loved us so much, like in the Old Testament, if you see, he was really patient, he was really understanding towards people, and people used to disappoint him so much, but then he never used to get fed up or tired, and then he used to keep giving to the people, but the people would always disappoint him. And in New Testament also, Jesus showed kindness towards people. He healed people around him, and he did not, follow certain rituals and traditions, but he personified the highest form of love. And in the end, he just, God just gave away Jesus for people. So that is the highest form of love. So when you are young, you are a, a really different person. When I was very young, I was quite different than what I am now. When we are young, we do not have too much of focus, we don't understand anything. So how can we understand a true love? And also, how can we expect the other young person to do the same way for you? How can we? So it's all good when you are lucky in love. There are people who I know have been lucky in love, and who had a relationship when they were quite young, and then they ended up getting married and they have children today. I know such kind of people, but this video is especially for people who were not lucky in love, and who's had heartbreaks, and so it boils down into one thing, that if this whole thing, if this relationship doesn't work, what kind of effect can it have on you? If it doesn't work out, you could get really damaged inside. You could be, you can turn into a very ruthless person, and you can damage other person. And I think you have heard about hurting people hurt others. So this can be a reality. The people who are hurt can hurt others, and that's a very dangerous thing, because it will all start from your end. If you are hurt so much, you'll hurt the other person, then the other person will hurt another one. So it becomes a vicious circle, and because you have a huge baggage, and it could change your mentality, change your perspective, and change your whole life. So my question is a straightforward one: why would you want to do that to yourself and to others? Just because we have this desire in our heart to have that kind of love, to have that kind of relationships that we have somehow, got inside our brains. So that is why we think that we need to have that kind of relationship. And then when it doesn't work, and it all blows out of proportion, and then it becomes a really, really a different story. Then it becomes really, really dangerous. It could turn out to be dangerous and gory also. If you want to get into a relationship, first find out this highest form of love, find about that kind of love, what it is, and definition of that kind of love, and understand that highest form of love, the kind of love that I just told you. I cannot be sure of anything in this love, okay, but I can be very sure about the love that God has for us. So you can put that love as a benchmark, and look into yourself and look into others also, so that way you can check on yourself, check on others as well, and then find out whether you feel the same way for the significant other, or whether that person feels the same way for you. And if both the people feel the same way, then go ahead. But the reality is, when we are young, we do not understand true love. And this is exactly the kind of advice I will give it to my children as well. I will always, discourage them from having a relationship when they are young, because they will not understand that, that the love that I just spoke about, the God's love for us, the kind of love that God has for us. When you are young, you cannot understand. So I'm going to tell my children also the same thing, and then I hope I succeed in that. And to avoid a lot of tensions in your own life, to avoid unnecessary heartbreak, and to avoid all sort of damages in yourself, and it could destroy so many people in this. So that is why I think it's best to refrain from these kind of relationships, and you first understand this true form of love, and then you can get into the relationship, or just get married. And then you may say that, yeah, it is easy for you because now you are married and you have children, and it's easy for you. And that's exactly why it is easy for me, don't you think so? Because I'm already married and I have children, and then I look back at my youth, and then I know what went wrong, and I could have done that. you know so that is why my whole purpose of making all these videos is, it has a sense of regret. And once you grow up, and if you're married and all, that doesn't mean you're all sorted out in your love life. It doesn't mean that you have understood everything, this true meaning of love. It doesn't mean that, okay? Now, what I can tell you for sure is, today I do not have that unrealistic expectations from my husband. He has got his own set of things going on, I have my own thing going on, and then it's all about acceptance and tolerance. So that way I know that I don't have any expectations from him, unrealistic expectations, like the way we saw in the movies, or like the way I had back then when I was young. So that is why it works right now. And then if anything happens later in life, to our relationship, I know that I will never go, you know I will never go mad. I know that. And I know that I can control myself, and I know that, I can work it out. And you may say that you are around 18, 19, or 20 years old, you're still young, right? And you may say that, I already understand this highest form of love, the true love, that, God loves us, this kind of love. I already know about it. And, I can love somebody like that, and that person also can love me like that. You may say like that, but you're very young, and in that case, what happens? So in that case, what happens is, you can just go ahead with the relationship, but most probably I feel you will not go ahead with the relationship. You won't go too much. You will maybe be on a friend zone or something like that, but you will not go so deep inside a relationship, because you will know, you will have that wisdom in you, that you are too young to get into that kind of relationship. And even though you understand the true love, but then you would still not get into it, because you may think that it may or may not last, and you don't want to take that risk. You will be calculative, and then you know what to do, and it will be a sign of wisdom for you. I did not learn about this highest form of love, this true love, from any man, okay? I learned it from God, the kind of this true love. Even if anything happens to this relationship, it will not affect me so much, because I know that true love is the love that only God can give. And I will never have that unrealistic expectations about love from my husband. I don't want to go Miss Havisham on anyone, but I want you to see the reality of it. And when you understand the Bible and the truest form of love, you will not look for any unrealistic things in any man or a woman. And that is truly freedom for me. So if you want to experience the same thing, you will have to read the Bible, you will have to get your hands dirty into those resources and other teaching material, and other people, those who are really good into these kind of teachings. So in the beginning also, I told you that you cannot dismiss anything so soon. The main resource will be the Bible, I had told you, and then you have to look into it and then finally decide. This is my husband Patrick. We got him here because we want to have a male perspective for this video. So question is, Patrick, your son grew up and then you have to give him some suggestions, okay, about love and all. So dating, love. So what would you tell him?
I'll tell him to be like his dad. When he grows up, he'll have his own nature and everything. Probably we have our own perspective of how we want to bring him up. But what I want from him is, I don't want him to, get into that emotional, like how you get into that emotional side while you're growing up and you think that's the end of the world and you want to get married when you're in class 8. And, all those stuff that you have those fancy dreams and, you think that's the end of the world. So he should grow up, start earning for himself, and then once he grows up, whether who he wants to date, what he wants to do, that is up to him when he has his individual choice. But as he grows up, he should grow up to be a wise guy, and he shouldn't repeat the mistakes that I had committed. So like Warren Buffett says, it's better to learn from others' mistake than to learn from your own mistake. To fall into it and get into that. Warren Buffett also says that. Chanakya says the same thing, and there's a lot of great learned people that follow this mantra. So he needs to be I want him to grow up to be I want him to be a level-headed guy, social and with a level-headed mindset. I don't want him to go crazy about anything. We grew up, we liked, we were infatuated, we thought that was going to be the ultimate woman in your life. But eventually things don't work out the way we want it to be. But things change. And the same way, after going, you learn it the hard way, and eventually when you have kids, you don't want them to go through that same path all over again. You want them to be wiser and you want them to make the right choices.
So don't you think that if he dates at a young age, and if his heart gets broken, don't you think it's wise not to date at all? Shouldn't we, as a parent, tell him not to, discourage them not to do that? Because there are chances that young love can be tough.
See, if it happens, we will definitely, obviously as parents, we will have to give him our suggestions and we will have to give him all the wisdoms that we have learned from our mistakes. So he will learn, and eventually we can tell him, we can guide him, but eventually it's him. He has to live his life.
So okay, so we will wrap up here, and what my husband is saying is he can date, but he will be guided at the same time.
Say hi. Hi. Hey guys, if you like this video, you subscribe to my wife's channel. Her name is she comes under the name Quad Mom, Supreksha, and if you like it, do follow, subscribe, click that bell button out there, and you'll get to hear and see more of parenting advice and thing. But most of it will be from the Bible. And we since we follow a particular path, we would mostly emphasize on that, but the choice is always free for everybody. Yeah, thanks everybody. Bye.
Bye.